Okay, we are live. I hope. Hi, everybody. Joe Chaffee. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show. I'm only half a Joe. Where's my other
Can,
half?
can you hear? Can you see me?
I see you. Can you see?
Okay,
You see me?
I see you.
Okay, I hear you.
All right.
And I think the boys and the ladies and gentlemen on the board are going to let us know if the audio is all right. Every time I move my computer, because I did uh, my library talk today at the Sachem Library in Holbrook, New York, and had a few of the regulars there. Scott Briller brought me a nice coffee mug, which I'll show on Sunday for the Coffee with Joe and Joe show. And Chris Alley was there, and Izzy D was there. So it was pretty cool. Plus, there were a few other people. Oh, Bill William Uber. I can't forget Bill. Bill's not on the live stream tonight because he's bowling. This is bowling night for him.
Oh, okay. Why all of a sudden when you said he's bowling, all of a sudden I had this mental image of Jackie Gleason as Ralph Cramden holding a bowling ball.
Well, you know what? Well, he's not quite. He's not built like Jackie Gleason. He's leaner, but
Yeah.
he bowls right near me. So I actually went out and watched him bowl back a couple of months ago, and a very good bowler. But his knee was bothering him today, so that could be problematic. All right, so we have. Oh my God, we've got winter weather advisories up, Joe. This is so exciting. We haven't had anything like this in a while.
Yes, but where are those winter weather advisories, Joe? Northwest New Jersey?
That is correct. They are in northwest New Guernsey and in a couple of counties in northeastern PA. As uh, That's it, and it's all about freezing rain, really.
Right. I don't really think we're going to see very much in the way of snow out of this. Even
No,
up in the even up in the colder northern and western terrain, we should be seeing mostly a sleety, icy, rainy. All right, maybe there'll be some wet snowflakes mixed in, but I don't really see much in terms of any kind of an accumulation there.
yeah, I mean mostly the amounts, and I'll pull up the map in a bit. Are generally under a few inches, and you got to go way up, maybe up in the Adirondacks. They're a little bit higher in northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Of course, part of that too is going to be the second wave that comes up Thursday night and Friday. We have flood watches up from the Florida Panhandle all the way up into southern Kentucky, kind of runs up the west side of the Appalachians there. I think some of those flood watches are going to wind up getting extended northward. And I also think we're going to have some severe weather to deal with, especially on Thursday for the southeast coast. And SPC, by the way, Joe, on their latest forecast, they pushed the area further north. They actually have marginal risks up to southern Delaware, and they have a chance of thunderstorms up the Jersey coast and cutting across Long Island into southeastern New England. That might get pushed up a little bit more. And the slight risk now covers almost all of North Carolina except the west, South Carolina, much of Georgia, and a good chunk of the state of Florida.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you're right, Joe. I think the area of general thunderstorm coverage is going to be, I think, pretty much going to cover all of New Jersey and move into the Hudson Valley. And would not be surprised to see the slight risk go a little further up the coast. But we were debating on this for the last couple of days. From day 5 and day 4, the analysis was that there would have some active weather in the southeastern United States, and we've been talking about maybe that will be squeezed or squelched northward up in our direction, and it looks like that's indeed happening.
Whenever you see it, we always use that rule. You see it. If you see SPC putting stuff in day 4 and 5, you should probably take it seriously. The um, the 7-day WPC rainfall map is pretty loaded, showing 5-inch plus rains up into northern Alabama and Georgia and the western parts of the Carolinas, eastern Tennessee, but even 2 to 3 inches extending northward up through Virginia, through New Jersey to about New York City and over Long Island, out to about the Cape, and every bit of an inch and a half to 2 inches up the Hudson Valley, almost to about I-90, but not quite. And that heavy rain also extends back through West Virginia. So Johnny Quest is got the rowboat ready there because it looks like he could get some solid rains. And and they go back down into Mississippi and Alabama, Mississippi and northeast Louisiana. Really pretty loaded here for rainfall from WPC, and also fairly busy. We don't want to leave out the folks in the northern Rockies, northern and central Rockies, and on up, especially in the Pacific Northwest. And of course, we know where the trough is, so yes, much of that you see up the Rockies, that's going to be snow again. And they did pretty well with the weather system from the last couple of days.
It's going to be, for the first time in a little while at least, a very active pattern. Although, again, as you pointed out, Joe, we're not going to be seeing all that much in terms of wintry weather for most areas, even though we do have that winter weather advisory. Now, the question is the winter weather advisories right now are over in northwestern Jersey
Right. And
and
Northeast PA.
northeast PA. Do you think maybe we might see an extension of that in the coming next 24 hours
Oh
into
yeah,
the Hudson Valley?
I think what you saw is because that was Mount Holly. That's Mount Holly's zone. So I think what you saw was Mount Holly kind of decided to jump the gun a little bit early. I think you're going to see some more winter weather advisories go up tomorrow. I've got the ice map up in terms of, the ice accretion here is nothing to write home about. I mean, you've got a few spots calling for up to about 2/10 of an inch in Northeast PA. And there is a quarter of an inch print in western Maryland. So that's got to be topography related there. But most of the ice accretion forecast that we're seeing into Thursday morning anyway are generally under a tenth of an inch, and in some places actually under 5/100ths of an inch. If I extend the time frame here out through the second event, there's probably going to be additional icing going on in upstate New York and into New England. But even here, the icing is not anything crazy. It's all mostly between 5/100ths and a tenth of an inch, which, ice is ice. Even a little bit of ice can be problematic. And by the way, that ice accretion forecast also extends back through the northern half of Ohio, cuts across Indiana, southern Illinois, back over through Missouri, and into parts of southwest Kansas, south of Kansas City. And we've got snow issues for this area too because there's winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories up, and I'll bring that up as well. Let me just bring the snow map up as far as what the Weather Service is going for.
My feeling is that the New York National Weather Service, based at Upton on eastern Long Island, that they'll thrash this around a little bit and they'll decide that perhaps they ought to put it under a winter weather advisory for mainly ice and sleet for Orange County. I think they will probably end up leaving Westchester and Putnam and Rockland out, but Orange County, and especially so places that are north of, let's say, and along and north of the 84 corridor, that's and points north of there. That's
Right.
probably where you're going to see your best shot at getting some icing situation. Now, on the other hand, on my own forecast on Facebook, I mentioned that there could be some ice and sleet mixing in, a kind of a wintry mix by late tomorrow night or early Thursday morning, especially. And I said north of 287. And, it's
I
true.
think it's possible.
If you go north of 287, yeah, you may see some ice and sleet mixing in. But if to really create a glaze or a possible slippery condition, I think you'll probably have to go more to the north and west over into Orange County and points north of there for that Thursday morning.
The snow forecast that I just put up for the Northeast, this goes out till Friday evening. Now, when this low goes by, the first wave goes by Thursday morning. Then you got the second wave that goes by Thursday night into Friday morning. When that second wave goes by and deepens, you're probably going to get some backside stuff upstate, and also some lake effect will probably kick in as well. So that's why you've got some amounts of 6 to 10 inches in parts of from southwestern New York. And then north of I-90, it's mostly 5 to 10 inches being indicated. So that's the second wave, and also some five to 10 inches across central and northern New Hampshire and Vermont, and on up through Maine, away from the immediate coast anyway. But even on some of the coastal areas there, showing some prints of 5 and 6 inches. But for the urban corridor, we're talking about a coating to an inch, if that, at Boston, down to Hartford. And of course, there are some prints here of 1 up in the Hudson Valley. But I honestly believe that that's just not going to happen. I think that's just going to be it is it's just going to be mostly sleet and maybe a few snowflakes in some of the colder areas for a brief time. One of the things I noticed, Joe, with regards to temperatures, I was looking at the minimum temperatures for Thursday morning. I mean, talk about trying to fight for some cold air here. But putting these numbers up, which they'll go up in a second here. I'm going to reload the map. I
You're
don't
talking
have
about
my.
Thursday morning, like at 7 a.m.
Yeah. I left my mouse at the talk, so I'm
Whoops.
having to use the computer keyboard to kind of do everything, and I'm not good at that. That's why I bought myself a wireless mouse because it's just easier for me to work with a free hand. But I was looking at these lows, these 7 a.m. minimum temperatures for Thursday morning. Right along the coast, it's all above freezing. But inland, you've got some upper 20s uh, in cold spots in northwest New Jersey, up by you, and points further north. It gets a little lower as you go up into northern Connecticut and on up into Massachusetts and upstate New York, where it's in the low 20s. But this is where you also have low 30s that penetrate down, but above freezing in southern Pennsylvania down into Maryland. This is where we're so lacking of cold air because if in a situation like this, if you're going to wind up seeing a significant ice storm out of this, you would want to see temperatures probably at least 5 degrees lower in this area. You certainly would like to see temperatures in the teens and even some single digits when you head up to Albany. I mean, Albany's low, 27 for Albany.
Yeah,
28 for Poughkeepsie, 30 for Kingston. Uh,
and those
that just
temperatures,
doesn't cut it.
those temperatures may actually, we may bottom out with the lowest temperatures, let's say around midnight tomorrow night or shortly after midnight, and by daybreak on Thursday, we may actually see the temperatures already beginning to rise.
Well, let me
Uh,
see. Let me see if I can the actual temperature here. I don't see how far out it goes. All right, actually, I can do that. So I've got the Weather Service's digital forecast. Actually, those are the 7 a.m. temperatures that they're actually that they're printing out. 39 in New York City, 34 at Islip, 31 in Poughkeepsie. Northwest Jersey temperatures around 30. Eastern Pennsylvania, just about everybody's above freezing at this point. So yeah, those lows, especially west, will probably be achieved during the early morning hours and then start to inch up. And of course, you go further south, it's already in the upper 30s and low 40s across southern PA, southern New Jersey, and Maryland. So it's not really a problem for those folks. Meanwhile, so close to getting some snow in Dallas, Joe. Not quite, but close. Uh, and it'll be the first accumulating snow in 5 years. But I'm just looking at the snowfall forecast here for across the Midwest. You've got some, 3 to 5 inches. Chicago gets 5, Milwaukee 6, Green Bay 2, Grand Rapids 2, Detroit 4, St. Louis 3, Jefferson City 5, Kansas City 2, Tulsa 6, Oklahoma City 5, Lubbock 4, Midland, Odessa 6, Amarillo 4. It's criminal.
yeah,
And then up north, I'm just looking west of Denver, well west of Denver. What did we say that was I-25 yesterday?
I-25 last night. Yeah,
Yeah. So you have to go a little bit ways west of Denver. You start to get into some 2 foot plus amounts with the next weather system that's dropping down. But Denver in itself, 2, Boulder 3, Fort Collins 3, Colorado Springs, some 1 on the east side of 25, and 4 on the west side of 25. So that's they got it all figured out down to the service road. And then on up in Idaho, you get creamed with another 1 foot plus, 1 foot plus all the way up on the Montana side and on the Idaho side as well. So it's
to the west of the Continental Divide.
yep, and that's where everything is happening.
Yep.
So I was looking at this overall pattern. It's for snow lovers, it's awful. There's really nothing here at all of any kind of hope in the longer term, unless we still have this chance for that little window that opens up Saturday night into Sunday morning. We'll get to that in a second. But here's your first wave, Mr. Rayo. And of course, all the cold air pulls out. So that goes by. Then you get the second wave that really develops and deepens. And that's the one that's probably going to produce some pretty hefty thunderstorms in the southeast. Tomorrow, the severe weather risk is more back through Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi. And then on Thursday, it moves into the southeast. I'm thinking there could be 2 to 3 inches of rain from the city, from New York City southward,
Well, I was looking at
south and
the
east.
what many television stations call their futurecast. We call it the RPM, and the RPM earlier today at 12Z run had a nice skinny, but albeit very solid, concentrated line of shower and possible thunderstorm activity moving through our area at 7 a.m. on Friday morning. And we've been saying for the last couple of days, don't be surprised if you hear some rumbles of thunder either late Thursday night or early Friday. This looks like a very potent system, and indeed, with convection, you certainly could see 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 inches of rain come on down, and that could very well be what we're looking at here for late Thursday into a part of Friday. And by the way, Joe, do you think that Friday, even down here where we are, uh, parts of Long Island, New York City, Lower Hudson Valley, that on the backlash late in the day on Friday, that we may actually see some snow showers and flurries sweeping
Well,
on in?
you, I think maybe. I think you maybe. When you got a 975 low sitting over Boston, it's a pretty wrapped up, tight little low. I think for you, you might see it. The GFS has certainly it has, some light backside snow down to about New York City, but it also has some rain in there in Western Connecticut and Western Massachusetts. So I don't know, how much cold air is going to mix in. I don't know. You can see on the northern edge of this. You get some snow. And by the way, this goes back to the GFS run from days ago, which had this huge area of snow in central and western PA and in upstate New York. And you can see what this is whittled down to on the northwest side. There really isn't all that much. The other thing I noticed, Joe, on the GFS on the 18Z run, that it looks like it's got the heaviest rains at about 1 or 2 a.m. Over New Jersey and Long Island, particularly over Long Island, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. And then there's a batch of convection that's kind of scattered around at 7 a.m. I want to take a look and see what the NAM did with this. So hang on one second. I got to get my mouse back. It's
If it's
so
not headphones, it's your mouse. If it's not your mouse, it's this and
it's
that.
that or the other thing. So I'm just looking at the NAM. Yeah, the NAM actually has the low further east. I don't know if that's right. It's got the surface low coming off of Chesapeake Bay, and actually east of New Jersey, south of Long Island, it's got a 989 low Friday morning, which it takes out to the east. Still has some showers here into midday, and then it gives you, I'm sorry, mid morning, and then it has the snow on the backside in New York State and on up through much of New England except southeastern New England by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, I mean for you, I suppose you could get a cheap thrill, change over to snow before it ends, and then it moves out. And then of course we start to see the next low, which on the was that one little window. Remember, folks, in the kind of pattern we're in, it's got the only way it's going to snow for the coastal areas or for anywhere in the I-95 corridor is going to be if a low comes out while you have some cold air around, and you do have a cold high that comes in on Saturday that goes up into New England, and actually not a half bad looking area of snow on the radar presentation on the GFS Saturday evening, moving into Southwest PA and West Virginia, and then over New Jersey and Long Island by 1 o'clock in the morning. And of course, by 7 a.m., the area shrinks down to the southeast, a little weak low offshore, and goodbye. So, yeah, I don't know how much energy is worth wasting on this. It's not going to be able to develop. The upper air is not really all that supportive. I'm just not impressed by this.
No, in fact, the European, the 12Z European, has that bit of snow or precipitation passing or skirting just underneath us to the
Yes.
south. So it doesn't look like but you know what? We're still like what 4 days, 3 4 days away.
Yeah, there's
And so
time.
we'll try. So for all of you snow lovers, you do your snow dance. Let's build on this. Let's see if we can make something out of this between now and let's say Friday or the start of the weekend.
So yeah, I'm just looking at the upper air here. You got this really solid. This first area for Wednesday night and Thursday is just kind of a weak shortwave that goes into that's coming into the ridge and weakening the upper high. Then you have the stronger trough that heads here for Thursday night into Friday. There's a little northern energy that tries to pivot around, so that's probably why the low deepens. And then the shortwave that follows, actually the shortwave that follows going into Saturday night uh, looks pretty decent from Chicago, axis from Chicago down into western South Carolina, but then it just weakens and flattens out as it lifts northward because the upper high is building again because there's another trough dropping into the west. It doesn't stop.
Right. That upper trough that's dropping in serves as kind of a long range kicker, if you will, to flatten that trough approaching the eastern seaboard out, and it literally like boots it right out to sea.
Yeah.
In that same kind of zonal type flow that we spoke about last night as well, that we've seen very persistent in recent
Well,
days.
by next Thursday, you have a big upper high sitting over the Bahamas, and a ridge up the east coast, and a deep trough in the west. So the winter weather lovers in the west are going to enjoy this. And I'm just going to run the surface really quick here, and we'll take a look at that. Then we'll go to the chat board just to take a few comments and questions. And I think we're going to wrap it up a little early tonight. But after we get whatever happens on Sunday, let me switch to the radar. Here we go. So here we have our system for tomorrow and Thursday. Of course, we've got this front coming through tonight. Let's not forget that there's some showers that are going to come in overnight into tomorrow morning before they dry up, and then then Wednesday night and Thursday, here comes the second wave. Here comes the weak little system for Saturday night into Sunday morning. Then after that, let's start shooting out some western energy. Looks like some precip gets in here on Tuesday, and then a stronger low. Now here's where the GFS on this run, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm this is this is one of those Joe is skeptical moments. It does. You've got a cold high in southeastern Canada that builds down the coast. We get a front that comes here on Tuesday, builds southward. Looks like a much colder high than what we're seeing for tomorrow night into early Thursday. And the model's trying to take a low up the west side of the Appalachians, but it does show some snow breaking out in Maryland, New Jersey, and on up to about New York City before it changes over to sleet and then to rain. I'm going to just kind of wager that by the time we get closer to this, that this is going to wind up being less in the way of frozen and more in the way of either freezing precip or just rain as this low tracks to our west. Then that pulls out, then another low tracks to our west, then that pulls out, and then who knows after that. I mean, it really is another one. Even at the end of the period, Joe, there's another low that tracks to our west. It just doesn't stop. It's endless.
Yeah. No blocking, everything just very progressive, everything moves along, and a bare minimum of any kind of chilly or cold air to work with. So,
Right, and
you're
that's your negative East Pacific oscillation. At least it gives you the chance that there could be some cold air around. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at this horrible upper air that we've just kind of been locked in and staying locked in right in through mid month. You get these moments, you get these really short periods where you get some not quite cross polar flow, but at least flow from the Canadian Northwest, only to see the trough pull out. And here we are again. Here's the GFS with a ridge in the west and a trough in the east by the end of the forecast period, which is now, by the way, February 20th.
Yeah, well, the Climate Prediction Center, I mentioned this yesterday, or maybe I first mentioned it on Sunday. Climate Prediction Center has our area of the Northeast on the experimental 3 to 4 week prog, taking us from the 15th to the 29th of February at 70% probability of above normal temperatures in the Northeast. And I've been looking at that prog for the last 3 years, or more than 3 years it's been around.
It's
And
still
I don't
experimental,
remember,
right?
yeah, the experimental, but I don't even remember ever seeing a 70% for any kind of temperature projection. I've seen 50 and 55 and 60, and even once in a great while 65, but 70. That's amazing.
By the
They were
way,
really,
tilt your camera just a little bit. Your chin is gone. We want to see your chin.
how about like
Much better.
how's that?
Much better.
There
So
you
look,
go.
the bottom line is the bottom line. I mean, we're going to get what we're going to get. Snow lovers are going to be, you know, they've already. I think most of them have leapt off the cliff at this point.
Yeah.
Really, I'm wondering. I know it's only February 4th. You know what it is? It's if we had a volatile pattern that was changing, changing back and forth from one thing to another on a regular basis, I would leave the door open for something to happen. But I'm really starting to think that at where we are, sometime between from now till mid-March, the only way we're going to wind up with any kind of accumulating snow in the big certainly in the big cities and down along the coast is if you get something that just times out perfectly. There's nothing on the models that even remotely suggest that there's any kind of major change underway in what we've been going through since the end of December. Really.
Well, we just have to hang our hat and hope that maybe, just maybe, something will happen that'll surprise us when we get to this upcoming weekend. Things happen unexpectedly. We've seen it, and I'm trying to offer some hope to all of our snow lovers out there. And oh, by the way, just want a reminder to everybody that tomorrow is National Weather Person's Day, Joe.
It is.
It's our day tomorrow,
It is.
February
Yeah,
the
it's
5th.
February the 5th, right?
Right, John Jeffries, I believe, who made the first weather observation, I think back in 1870 or maybe it was 1780 or something like that. He made the first of many uh, cooperative weather observations, and so they have decided to take that as the benchmark to celebrate for all the meteorologists and weather forecasters or whatever, and that is tomorrow.
All
So
right, let
take
me
your
see.
so how many out there take your weatherman to lunch bunch?
Well, I got to, big thank. I got a new coffee mug thanks to the chairman, Mr. Briller, who saved it for me for my birthday. Thank you so much for getting that and making the drive. He made a night long drive. Him and Izzy D to come out to the library talk today. Um, I think. Let me see if I can get this to work. Hang on. I'm going to do this on the fly. So let's see if this works. Hang on a second, Joe. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, I know I'm playing with fire here, so let's see if I can manage it. All right, you ready? Tell me if you hear anything. Did you hear anything? Any applause?
I heard something that sounded like a cymbal, but
Okay, then you were able to hear it. Did you hear the fat lady?
I didn't hear the fat lady joke. I'll turn up my volume a
Well, maybe they heard it. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna turn my speaker off. I should have set this up earlier. Okay, I should have set this up earlier, so I'm going to try to set this up tomorrow so that it works correctly.
bit. Okay.
And maybe we can hear the fat lady sing.
Yeah, but if she sings, Joe, what does it mean? It usually means it's the end of something.
That is correct. Yeah, right. The opera isn't over until the fat lady sings, and she's on stage. She's out of her dressing room. She's on stage, and she's clearing her throat.
Okay.
Okay, and that means that the prospects for snow could be over sooner than you think. Javon Perry hit super chat tonight. Thank you so much for doing that. We Joe and I both really appreciate it. I don't know if you guys got to hear the fat lady sing. Johnny Quest said the fat lady has sung where he is, and she's drowned. Dennis Cassia said he did hear the fat lady sing. Okay, well, good. It's good to know that you heard her. What?
That's me supplying the fat lady.
Oh, very nice. All right, so look, we'll end it there, and I don't hear you, Mr. Rayo. You've deafened me. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to.
Oh, you know what I wanted to tell you before we go? I saw something today. Oh yeah, this is this is gonna hack you off. This is gonna really hack you off. Are you
hack,
ready?
hack me off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna be mad at this.
Okay.
So apparently, um, the People's Republic of the State of New York at the state parks, you can, people apparently go to state parks. I mean, you used to go to parking lots in state parks to do other things besides stargazing. But
Right.
apparently, it's a deal to go to state parks for stargazing,
Right.
right? Which makes total sense. You have no light pollution. Everything is the natural darkness, and you can see very well. Well, apparently, the People's Republic of the State of New York is charging people to use the parking lots for stargazing, and there's a stargazing permit that you have to buy for $25. And if you are not a resident of the People's Republic of the State of New York, they are charging you $60.
Lovely.
$60 to go park in a parking lot to start at Stargaze.
Well, they've been doing that for a long time, Joe.
Really?
Yeah, at Jones Beach, for example, and at Robert Moses State Park when I was a Long Islander. They've been doing that for a good long time. Of course, now,
I thought this was something new. I never heard of this.
oh, and the thing is, you can't see anything at Jones Beach anymore because
Yeah, because there's lights everywhere.
now this is here's an interesting quick story. This goes back to Castro. Oh, what was her first name? She was related to the Castro convertible.
Oh, Bernadette Castro.
Bernadette Castro. I was president for a number of years of the Amateur Observer Society of New York, which still, by the way, is in existence. It's been around now for over 50 years, and we used to observe from West End Beach number 2 at Jones Beach. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, we did have to pay for a permit to go there. That was back in the day, like 10, 15, $20. I don't remember the amount. But then when Bernadette Castro came in, she had the idea, why don't we really spruce everything up? And she put these lantern-like lights on the boardwalk,
Oh, so
and
now
there's
not ruining
sodium,
that.
those garish sodium, yellow orange vapor lamps, and they put it on the boardwalk. So now it's ultra bright there because of those lights, and you can't see the stars. So on Amateur Observer Society stationery, I wrote a letter to Miss Castro. It was a very nice letter, and I said, look, we paid for permits to stargaze at Jones Beach. We've been there for many, many years. Now you put these bright lights up on the boardwalk. Is it possible that we provide you with a list of nights that we will be at West End number 2
So you can shut
to
the
observe
lights
the
off.
stars? Could you turn the lights off for us? We're not there all night. We'll be there for a few hours. Turn them off. And I got a nice letter back from her saying, I'm terribly sorry. We cannot do that because of safety concerns and blah, 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 blah. I mean, Joe, we have been going there in pitch darkness years before the lights even appeared. Now she's saying it's dangerous for us to be there because of safety concerns, right?
I didn't know that they charged for this. I think it's
They did.
outrageous,
They
frankly.
did. Now, here's the postscript to the story. A few years later, my wife and I, we took our 2 kids. They were only about 5 or 6 years old now. Jones Beach, 4th of July, big fireworks display. 250,000 people gathered at Jones Beach to see this spectacular fireworks display, right?
And they shut the lights off.
5 seconds or 10 seconds before the display began, what happens? They shut the lights off to allow you to get a better view of the. And everybody's going, ooh, nah, 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 and I'm standing there cursing a blue streak out. Yeah, it's dangerous for 5 or 10 or 15 people in.
But you got gunpowder blowing
No,
up everywhere. That's
but a quarter
fine.
quarter million people, Jones Beach bombs the Rockets red glare, and they turn the lights
You
off.
can't make this stuff up. I should mention, by the way, I'm sorry, Jason Schaefer mentioned this. Jason Schaefer, who's also was my one of my producers over at Channel 11 WPIX TV. He also came to the library talk today, and it was good to see Jason. Hadn't seen him in quite a while. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. By the way, I haven't been paying attention. Did they announce who won the Iowa caucus?
The last I heard, it was Buttigieg was ahead. Right behind him was Sanders. I think number three was who was number three? I know
Warren.
Biden was fourth,
So
and Warren
Warren
was
was
third.
third.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I was just kind of wondering. I forgot to check late this afternoon. Just out of curiosity. And besides, I think tonight we have the State of the Union.
Yes,
So that's next.
that's the here
Um,
speech, where
all
every
right.
5 seconds they interrupt the speech for the here. You know,
Yeah. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker.
the
Or
sergeant
this
of
will
arms.
be it's Madam Speaker now, but I forgot who used to be the voice of that. Used to do that.
I have a question, Joe. What's going to happen tonight? I think what Nancy Pelosi is supposed to introduce the president,
Right.
saying the effect like it's my high honor or it's my great
Yes.
pleasure. I wonder. I wonder what's gonna
I
be.
have no. You know what? I am so disinterested in all of that stuff. I'm not even. I'll watch it on a replay. We'll see
Yeah,
what happens. All right. So same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow.
we'll be here. Where are we going? Not
Yeah.
going in.
We're not going anywhere. All right, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Stay safe. And by the way, did you do a short fuse update today?
No, I did not.
Okay. Let me
I
know
re-
if you do.
yes, I will.
Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.